So, but now you pretty much stick to building nylon strings.
For several years, I built 50-50. I got commissions for steel strings and nylon strings. I built steel strings. But at one point, I just figured that I needed to sort of plant my flag in one camp or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And knew from my own experience that factories could build very, very good, successful steel string guitars and sell them for $500 with a case and stuff like that. But that factories couldn't build in a production setting very successful nylon string guitars. And then my infatuation with the nylon string guitar was deeper. I'd gone to more recitals. I had become more familiar with the repertoire and things like that, and decided that I was going to concentrate on nylon string guitars.
Nice.
And which brings us up to today.
Okay.
Or so.
So, what do you consider your standard model?
Well, my standard model is an Indian rosewood, spruce, or cedar guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I would think.
But if you were like to, let's say, build out of your own, without any commission and stuff, what would you build from your wood stash?
I would build spruce top guitars. I like spruce top guitars more than I like cedar top guitars. That just suits my ear more.
And any particular kind of spruce?
Well, I've been lucky to be able to buy a lot of good European spruce. When I first started, it was always called German spruce. That's what we were looking for, is German spruce. But now the best German spruce seems to be coming out of Bosnia or Switzerland or northern Italy, and still some out of Germany, but mostly Bosnia. So we just call it European spruce now.
Yeah.
And I just like it. If I could, I would experiment maybe with Sitka, but it just seems less appropriate. I would experiment with Engelmann and probably unwittingly have. But I bought a lot of wood from Mattingly's shop after he passed away. I bought a lot of good wood. Bought a lot of good Brazilian rosewood. I bought a lot of good spruce and Indian rosewood, and that was what I became comfortable and most familiar with in my building.
Yeah. Now, do you treat cedar tops differently from spruce tops, or is it more of how a particular piece of wood feels?
It's always about how a piece of wood feels. I mean, I always sort of feel like anytime I take a given, let's just talk about tops, a given top, that I want to exploit its musicality as best as possible. But I do, by default, brace my cedar tops differently than I brace my spruce tops.
Oh. Now, how differently?
Not terribly differently. On my spruce top guitars, it's very traditional, 7 fans, 2 tone bars at the bottom, symmetrically braced, not symmetrically carved on the fan braces, but symmetrically braced. But on my cedar top guitars, I go asymmetrical with 6 fan braces and a treble cutoff bar on the top to help bump up the higher frequencies a little bit, which is what I like in spruce top guitars, the more brighter ringing sound.
Huh.
So.
Nice. Now, aside from building guitars, you also entertain repairs.
I do repairs.
Yeah. Have you come across any interesting guitars over the years that have come in for repairs?
You're not asking about the hurdy-gurdy, are you, Perf?
Well, I saw that one. But like guitars that you wouldn't expect to pass through your shop, like a particular maker or a particular style guitar that just when you first uh, looked under the hood, so to speak, just just made things like
that changed my approach to making, that were like pivotal moments for me.
yeah, or you just said what the
Yeah, I've had a couple Smallmans in here and have looked at them and said, what the? I have had not only some beautiful Herman Hauser guitars that have always changed that established my touchstone in making. The Hauser guitars, I've had 4 or 5 in my hands, 3 or 4 that came through the shop, and 1 that I was able to see in my teacher's shop.
wow.
Which were all kind of pivotal moments, and also in hearing them played, very pivotal moments for me, and one of the things that has always impelled me towards spruce a little bit. Those were great and meaningful times. Miguel Rodriguez guitars, I've had the luxury of working on. That was who my teacher studied with. So in my first nylon string guitars, I was taught basically to build Rodriguez copies. So I've always sort of considered that Miguel Rodriguez was like my grand teacher in a way, but not that I was ever in their shop or anything like that. But I always felt an affinity.